So, got our header flinders in. Got the rest of the material for the headers to build them. Collectors came in as well. So now it's time to fabricate all the headers. It's going to be a tight fit. We got the inner fenders we got to work with. Lower control arm mount on the rear section of the control arm is pretty inboard, closer to the motor. The inner fenders with the master cylinder and steering column, steering shaft, starter is also on the driver's side with all that in the mix. So it's going to be a tight fit. The passenger side won't be too bad, but we got to follow the same kind of contours as the factory style header that came off the car. So the first primary on the driver's side is going to have to go up and over the second, third primaries just to get to the rear section of where they got to come down. All the primaries have got to go past the starter and get past the steering shaft along with everything else. So it's going to be a pretty tight fit. It's not all going to be accessible. I was trying to find a design that we could pull the starter out without having to pull a header, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen with everything else in the way. So get everything in, so it's time to build some headers. So I'd like to go ahead and start where the X pipe is and kind of work both ways back from there. So start the X pipe, work the way from the X pipe back to the headers, and then vice versa from the X pipe back to the back of the car. So basically what I'm doing is I've got my spread here on the exhaust coming through the trans tunnel. That's, let's see what it is, 4 1/4, center on center. So the car itself has a cross member with 2 holes going through the cross member for the exhaust to run through. So instead of trying to mock this up straight in the car and basically eyeballing where to get my dimensions from, I am taking the angle on the frame of where the cross member or the main frame rail comes and ties into the back side of the cross member where the exhaust goes through, and basically taking a center on center measurement of the exhaust, center on where the exhaust is going to run through the frame, and I'm going to basically map out where my bends are going to start and end. So instead of having to play some guesswork inside the car, we're just mocking up some tubes, kind of do a little drawings, do a little math, get some angles right. That way, you know, you draw it out on the table, draw your center on the tube, center on center where you're going, draw it out here, visualize it, kind of mark the tubes up, you'll know when you put it in the car, it's right. You know, you're not offset one side to the other. You know, the tube's gonna be straight going down in there, and you won't have any guesswork as far as mocking this up inside the car, trying to get everything square. So this is a mark out tool from Furic. Basically, it's a pretty awesome tool. You've got a bunch of different size dies to mark out on different size pieces of tube. So it helps a lot as far as marking out the degree that you want to cut and miter. Pretty much on a, I guess you could do it on a straight piece, up to very, very little, but it's mostly for a radius degree bend. Multiplicating bends, you know, say if you wanted to cut a 75-degree bend, jig it up in here, mark out where your 90 is gonna sit and land, and mark out your 75-degree angle. That way you replicate it over and over again. So tool helps out a lot. You know, right now what I'm doing is mocking up the exhaust, and it's basically gonna kind of contour the frame going through the bulkhead frame rail on the backside. So when the frame rail goes towards the rear section of the car, it splits off. So if I get that angle of where it splits off and goes towards the cross member, get that angle right there, I can contour my exhaust to contour the frame rail itself. So I get that degree angle, I can come over here, and let's just say the frame rail is at a 14-degree angle bending back towards the rear cross member. I can come back and make my bend, cut a miter on my tube itself to a 14-degree, and then it'll 14-degree bend one way and get it back straight again. You'll do 14 degrees back to get the bend straight. So tool helps out a lot to replicate all your bends. It's faster, it's quicker. So basically just mark the tube up inside where your mark's gonna be, and you got this half round piece of plate that you can mark all the way around the tube, halfway anyways. Take it over to the bandsaw, cut that line right there. You got a cut line basically exactly where you want it. You know, you can make bends or make cuts over and over again pretty easily, and take some of the guesswork out of doing your fab work. Finally got some slip joints in for the rear section of the exhaust, so we're going to start plumbing the mufflers. We got some Borla Pro XS mufflers, single in, single out. So we're going to go up and over the axle, dump right out behind this axle, about here, flush cut the tip. So exhaust all the way to the rear cross member here is done. So some of the joints that we've used in the past that just came out not too long ago are slip joints. So we got kind of limited room on this section right here. So there's a dual slip joint that I like to use on these. Basically, you can take this muffler in and just kind of slide it into the slip joint and seals it up pretty good. They use them on different applications and turbo cars and stuff like that, and they work pretty good. So we're going to use that and come up over the axle, dump out right here at this section. So have a good throaty sound, you know, echoing off the ground. So it should sound pretty good. Almost wrapped up.
snake it down there.
Right.
You can even keep it like you had it.
Right. I just want to be able to keep it up as tight as we can, so it's not hanging down super low.
No, that's what he's saying. They'll cut it off. You know, I
Right.
guess shoot it up higher.
Right.
They'll cut it off like that.
Keep a little bit of the bend down low though, so it gives it some character.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So if this was a bend and a bend, it would like
Right.
just a
Yeah.
curvy, get rid of the straight.
Yeah.
That looks like a chrome tip.
That exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was
This
trying to
is
get
cheap
away
looking.
from.
Yeah, so shoot for each corner and then
Yeah.
Kind of fill this whole little section up.
Kind of go with more of a bend. That way it kind of swoops this way and then swoops down.
Kind of go, yeah, it gives it a little bit
S.
of a look.
that'd be cool.
That's what I need to know. Just figure out what you like.
And that's all the way up, right? Maxed
That's
up.
all the way up. And that'll just come up just a little bit. Take that mount off right there. And be able to twist this to where it comes down, pull it out some, fish it out.
Cool.
Alright. Cool beans.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Cut this because I know we wanted a little bit of angle on one, but I was like,
Yeah.
It's a little much.
Yeah,
to me that looks like
Like a chrome tip that hangs out the back of a four-wheel drive truck.
exactly when it's in there like that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
now get the more of that fabricated look going down in that corner.
Yep.
That'll look good. And then it's out, like you said, it's out to the outside as much as we can possibly get it.
Yeah. And I figured once he makes that, we'll probably cut it down. You know,
We can
maybe
always, we'll do the
corner
final
or
trim at
something.
the end.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured probably stick down maybe an inch or so below that, like you said, your final trim after he gets his whole
Yeah.
stuff done.
Okay, rock on.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more build videos like this, help us out by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. And it's a little thing to do, but don't forget to turn on those notifications. If you want to buy merch, go to store.classiccarstudio.com. See you next time.